Going on, Jeromes? Beautiful Friday. Birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for another Vikings Q&A session. Nailed it. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for everyone who submits questions. So on the community tab, we'll intermittently ask for questions for Q&A vids. Thank you everyone who tosses a couple in. You guys are the best. First up, how invested in the Timberwolves are you right now, and how much would a Timberwolves championship mean to Minnesota compared to a Vikings Super Bowl win? Now, I don't think we really need to compare because Minnesota is a basketball town, represent, where the Wolves fans, there is a contingent of very hardcore Timberwolves fans that have put up with some very bad basketball. And as I've said, I am so happy for them to be able to enjoy this team. Now, for me, super casual basketball fan as an adult, kind of a hardcore fan as a kid. I remember just getting basketball cards from like that 95 and 96 draft class and just like looking through the Allen Iversons and the Ray Allens and the Kevin Garnetts. Woo. Let's go, man. But in terms of, so this does carry over to the Vikings because I feel like the Timberwolves have raised expectations where the parallels between the Timberwolves and the Vikings is kind of legit, where the Wolves, they basically, Tim Connolly and Finchie put together this defense first team full of young guys built around a couple of superstars, including Anthony Edwards, as well as also respect to Cat, because Cat was the guy. Cat was the superstar in this team, and he stepped aside and adjusted his role and really became a chameleon, so respect there. But what comes down to is that they have this young, hungry team who puts the team first, and it's not about egos, it's not about contracts, it's not about anything like that. They just play great ball, and that's exactly what Kevin Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah have tried to build, especially culture-wise. And I think the Vikings have turned that corner, where they've had that competitive rebuild, where they held on to a couple of veterans. They made sure that the torch was passed. But now this is a young team led by Justin friggin' Jefferson. So and also the fact that the Wolves are having such a great run and knocking on all the wood, hopefully will bring home an NBA title. I feel like getting, as much as it sucks to say, getting this great state of Minnesota used to winning and letting them know that it's okay to win and it's okay to raise expectations and actually have not silver lining, no moral victories, nothing like that. But hey, we're going to win. We're going to play fun ball and we're going to bring home titles and silverware and everything like that. That's good. That's a very good thing. So I actually think that the Wolves going on this unprecedented run, and also the fact that their roster is extremely young, and also Anthony Edwards is locked in for a number of years, I think that could set up the Vikings for a run of their own, or preclude a run of their own as well, and preview a run of their own as well. So nailed it. So either way, Edwards and Justin Jefferson, two of the most exciting stars in their respective sports in Minnesota long term because they want to be here. Let's go. Let's go, man. Traveler. What I love about McCarthy versus Kurt is that he's able to both extend plays with lateral movement and keeps his eyes downfield, not just taking the check down. I'll take him over Kurt on 4th and 8. Now, with McCarthy, it's interesting because we watched quite a bit of Michigan football this over the fall and have gone through and watched every single snap that McCarthy has taken at Michigan. And there's a couple of things that stand out. Now, Michigan gets this reputation as like, oh, well, J.J. McCarthy had this great elite offensive line. What was it elite, though? I mean, Zinter, sure. Nugent went undrafted, and about a couple of his other offensive linemen got drafted, sure. But there wasn't, like, first-round, second-round nail-driver guys up front. And also, they benefited greatly from McCarthy. Because not only can McCarthy move with his legs, which is great, but there's some spots where McCarthy got some heat, especially quickly up the middle, and he was able to sidestep the rush. He was able to step around in the pocket. He does have good pocket presence, and keeping his eyes downfield, looking to make a play. Now, going back to Christian Ponder, one of the things that we liked about him early on is that, hey, like Ponder, if it's not there, he'll tuck the ball and run. But then he just kept doing that. It's like, oh, that's all that he does. And McCarthy, yes, he can run, but he moves because he wants to make a play downfield. And also that's extremely taxing on defense because everyone talks about how a running quarterback is tough on a defense. Yes, chasing him around all day. But what's even more devastating is that when the quarterback moves up off the spot, more time is given to receivers as well as coverage coverages can break down. And if the quarterback and receivers are on the same page and they're communicating and the receivers are finding dead spots in the coverage, I mean, that's so demoralizing, where you have a quarterback dead to rights, he escapes, and then all of a sudden he's chucking it 40, 50 yards downfield for a touchdown. It's tough, man. Fran Tarkenton made a career off of that, man. So I'm really fired up about McCarthy. Also fired up, Thomas Rohr. If Darnold has a breakout season and wins comeback player of the year, what would be the reason behind trading him? JJ will not have played yet and still a huge question mark, but if Darnold at 26 has a productive season, he will have answered questions, and wouldn't he be the safer bet going forward? Thoughts? And that would be a very good problem to have. And we laid out like our two best case scenarios for the Vikings at quarterback this year. Number one, JJ earns the job and has a CJ Stroud-esque rookie season, distributing the rock, not making mistakes, etc. Number two would be Darnold hangs on to the starting job. He pans out in the number 3 overall pick potential, wins comeback player of the year, leads the Vikings on a magic carpet ride, and the Vikings could tag and trade him for significant capital, especially with what looks to be a down quarterback class next year. Or do you want Shedeur Sanders? If his dad approves of your team, or the Vikings would have a decision. Like, would they throw the bag at Sam Darnold or potentially just franchise tag him and see what happens with McCarthy down the line? I don't know. It would be an immensely good problem to have, where Darnold comes in and he looks like the stud that he was supposed to be, because now he actually has talent and grown-ass adults coaching him, as well as. I do believe in McCarthy. It would be great if he sat for a year and learned and grown and shown. But also, if he's ready, he's ready. So we'll see. I mean, the Vikings have a legitimate quarterback competition where both QBs could be good. Like, this is not Gus Frerotte versus T-Jack, which is nice. Barlow, Andy, I've been a huge fan of Ivan Pace Jr. Recently bought his jersey. I would buy an Ivan Pace Jr. jersey, where I do have this standing rule with football jerseys. It's really weird because it doesn't apply to anything else. Don't buy a jersey of a player that's younger than you. I don't know what it is. Where, I mean, obviously I'm rocking like the Nas Reed and the Anthony Edwards jerseys, but with NFL, I just think it's weird. That's why I got the throwback jerseys, man. But I would get an Ivan Pace Jr., but I would have to get one from China, with the stitched on numbers and stuff, because I don't know, man, like the new Nike Fuse Zoom Vapor, whatever. I mean, you're paying $200 for a jersey and it's not even stitched numbers. I don't know. Not saying Pace is unknown, but do you have a jersey of any unknown or underrated players? If not, who would you buy a jersey of? So currently, I would buy a Najee Thompson jersey if he would quit switching his freaking number, which would be great. But some old school guys jerseys that I want. So I am going to start I need to get Mitchell and Ness on the horn and just get some really pristine, high quality, like old school throwback jerseys, because I had 2 Kleinsasser jerseys back in the day. One when he was 85, and then also one when he was number 40. I mean, Jimmy K is the premier Viking. Also, we need to get back to being a proper country where there's 2 cars in every driveway, there's a chicken in every pot, and there's a fullback in front of every tailback in the I formation. This is an aesthetic. Like, this is Vikings 2000s football in a nutshell. I kind of like it, man. Skipped on. But also Chris Walsh, like special teams dynamo. And plus, so people forget. I forget this too. So when we started the channel, we had this like ongoing shtick about always being in love with a backup tight end. So like, we love David Morgan. We love Chase Ford. That's just the U being the U. We loved Red Ellison. USC, fight on, baby. But also my Cole Pruitt. Like, your Cole, my Cole, our Cole. Pruitt. I mean, he's just good, man. So I would unironically get like a high-end stitched Mitchell and Ness Michael Pruitt jersey. Or Kleinsasser. Woo! Kleinsasser would be fantastic. Lastly, so Ray Petty. Andy, can you speak on the state of the defensive tackle position? So it's been interesting because the Vikings, they did their diligence on Christian Wilkins. They were in until he got paid. They're also connected with some other defensive tackles. And you're thinking, okay, mainly a defensive tackle in the mold of the penetrating 3-tech. And, Flores, even though the Vikings are a 3-4 defense, they do run a lot of even defensive lines as well. And, having a guy that can get his own rush on the inside that has value. But the Vikings, so the Vikings free agency was interesting. So Tillery, Jonah Williams, and Jihad Ward are all more 4-tech, 5-techs. Right, so standard. Long limb, 265, 270 pound defensive ends in a 3-4 scheme, and they can help set the edge. They can help keep the tackle occupied. They can help stop the run, which is great. But in terms of guys that have high-end pass rushing ability, I mean, Ward can bring the heat a little bit, but they don't really have that, right? And also, we've talked ad nauseum that it would be great to move Harrison Phillips off the nose. Number one, it would keep him fresher. Number two, I think that he would be better utilized as a 4-tech, 5-tech. But the Vikings didn't really bring in, either in free agency or in the draft, a true 330-pound nose tackle, even though they had ample opportunity. They did re-sign Jonathan Bullard. They did bring in Levi Drake Rodriguez in the 7th round, but he's a project, although he could be a bundle of fun. And then they did pick up Tyler Manoa as well as Taki Taimani as UDFAs. And Taimani could be that nose tackle guy, right? But overall, it's like there's some question marks, sure, but I think what they're banking on is Jaquelin Roy rising up. Maybe LDR could be ahead of schedule as well. I think Jihad Ward, both as an edge as well as pass rushing from a 4-tech, 5-tech spot, could be up there. Plus, I think that they really are banking on Jerry Tillery panning out on some of that first-round potential, right? So he's been hot and cold with the Chargers. He lasted 1 year with the Raiders, got cut by Tom Telesco twice, which is rough. But overall, like, do they have that guy that's a Christian Wilkins dude? No. But also, given the other pass rushing weapons, did they really need that up front? It would have been nice, but didn't necessarily need that. Also, they obviously believe in Jaquelin Roy. Plus, I think Jonathan Bullard, I'm glad that he was brought back for another season because he doesn't put up the eye-popping numbers, but he's very good against the run. He's very good at helping set the edge as well. So I think that this unit lacks names, but there are some rough and tumble meat and potatoes guys, as well as some decent upside guys with Roy, LDR, Senior Sack, as well as Tamani could be interesting on the nose as well. But that's it. That's 5 good questions. Vikings Q&A. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol production value.